Hi there, Rick Hansen with Amazing Greats, and this episode number 12. Now, we are officially now in our 6th month. Thank you so much for joining us. And thanks to you, our audience continues to grow. We appreciate you sharing this with your friends. We love it when you like us, and we appreciate your input. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, and we'll keep you in the loop on new episodes as they are published. All right? You're going to love this one. It's a fun and upbeat episode with a lady by the name of Melissa Disney. You've probably heard her voice. Her voice is probably the most heard all over the world. That's right. There's lots of laughter in this episode and some tears too, as she shares her heart-wrenching story. It gets really real. Let's go. Melissa Disney is with me today. What a great honor it is to have an opportunity to chat with you about your life and your career and how faith has interacted with all of that. And I guess, the thing that, stood out to me mostly about your career is this kind of glass ceiling that you broke through in a kind of a male-dominated industry of voiceover work. Even in radio back in the day, you didn't hear females a lot on radio. But you really kind of busted through all of that. And I'm excited to find out how, why, and more about that. So let's start with the one that to me is the most obvious, which is announcing for some of the biggest live events in the country, the Academy Awards, the Country Music Awards, the MTV Awards, the Nickelodeon Awards, and your voice was a part of all. You threw in
a couple there that weren't even true.
Oh, really? Well,
that's okay. Keep going. Yeah. Head it up. That's what Wikipedia does. I have a different father on there and everything.
So, which is true?
Welcome to the 2007 MTV Movie Awards. Don't you even think about going anywhere. The Spike TV Guys' Choice Awards will be right back. The Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards will be right back. Live from the Kodak Theater in Hollywood. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences welcomes you to the 82nd Annual Academy Awards.
I got to ask you about the Academy Awards. Now, because this is something I don't know and I'm really intrigued by. Are you physically there? Are you at the Academy Awards?
Yes.
This is not pre-recorded.
I'm the one who's I'm basically just keeping the Oscar company, because he's very lonely until he gets into the hands. I don't get to touch anything. It's hilarious. I am so far from the hoopla. I'm back in a trailer. Like a literal trailer that's padded up with moving blankets. And then they try to make it look nice in there. God bless them, because it's not pretty. And every now and then they'll bring in a little couch and whatever. And then I have this gal Tina that sits with me because she has to help. It gets a little confusing because you have to keep track of so much information and people are winning. And then you have to say, this is their second nomination and third win. This is their first thing, so she keeps track of all that and then keeps me on my game. And yeah, I'm pretty far away. I'm back with all the tech guys, super unglamorous, and yet there's this like cloud of pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole world is watching you.
I pushed the button that goes to the whole world. So sorry, I'm holding this on my lap and it keeps wobbling.
Was there any faux pas, any problems, any challenges that happened backstage that are of interest where you messed it up?
I've messed up at a lot of award shows. But the key is that even if you're saying someone's name wrong or you don't totally remember how to say it or something, which is very rare because I study like the phonetics of these names. But even if you do and you start it out and like in your mind you're like, it's not coming out right. I know it's not. You just stay in a confident place. Just stay totally confident. Yeah. It's like something that I'm learning in my world as a wife, when your husband starts telling a story and it's totally not how the story went. And he's like, yeah, and he keeps going, and you're just like, yeah. When you're with a group of people and you don't say anything till later.
Yeah. So how did you get that job? How did they find you? How did you find them? How did that all happen?
Well, first we can always say, okay, God's got a hand in everything, I'm sure, because doors have opened that I don't understand how they open. But mostly it's just through auditions, and it's just like, I remember years ago, my agent asking me, would you be interested in doing the live announcing stuff or whatever? And because I've grown up in musical theater, I've done a lot of stage work. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And then as soon as you say yes to it, you audition. And if you get it, you're in. You're just like, you're in the fire, and nobody really teaches you how to do it. So, but if you do it well, there's a very small group of people that do it. And if they can trust you, because I have the button to the world, right?
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything weird or destroy the show.
Political.
Yeah. They trust you. They like you. They think your voice sounds great with the show. Then I think they hire you more and more.
Yeah. You're kind of in the circle of where all that action's going on.
Yeah. And it's a hard thing. You have to be able to trust that person a lot.
Yeah. So,
and not to mess up and give away any secrets and, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Were you the first female voice on a major awards show like that?
No. They've been doing this. Oh, no. Really? I was the first female, probably what you're thinking is to do a movie trailer. We want to talk about that too. That's the glass ceiling which I had no idea what I was doing. That's pretty much what I do.
Let's go there. Let's talk about that. How did that all come together? So there's this guy named Don LaFontaine.
Paula Sela is a real Geico customer, not an actor. So to help tell her story, we hired that announcer guy from the movies.
When the storm hit, both our cars were totally underwater.
In a world where both of our cars were totally underwater,
we thought it would take forever to get some help.
But a new wind was about to blow.
He's the guy, right? I mean, he's the...
Anna Christian, by the way. Sweetheart.
Anna Christian.
Total sweetheart. Loved him. He became my mentor after a while. He was so neat. So once again...
He's the one that did In a World.
Yes.
That big, beautiful thing. Yeah.
That was great.
Oh, you think I should fly?
Yes.
So cool. I didn't realize that.
Using voiceover for trailers very much now. It's hard on all of
I didn't realize there was that good, solid of a connection between you and he. That's pretty cool. I like that.
He was and is. I mean, it's hard to say somebody was, because in my mind, I'm so connected to the truth of there's heaven, right? So we're going to see everybody again. So in my mind, I'm already thinking I can't wait to hang out with them in heaven, right?
Yeah.
So I know. I must be like a weirdo, but whatever. So this was hilarious. So we're at a studio many years ago before we got home studios. We all worked at studios, and I was in one room doing some job, and he was in another room doing a job, and we both happened to come out at the same time on a break, and there was one bagel left or something, and he's like, do you want to share with me? And I was like, okay. So we did, and we started talking, and within the first 5 minutes, he asked me if I want to come ride with him in his limo.
Really?
I'm like, who's this dirty old man? Really young at the time, and I'm just like, okay,
Right in your studio, or in your limo, yeah.
And he was so funny, but I was still like, I don't know if I should trust this guy. I go back in, and I'm doing my job, and I'm like, you guys, I got to tell you what just happened. It was so funny. And they're like, oh, that's Don. He's serious. And I'm like, what? Yeah, the trailer guy, he's the godfather of trailers. You really should take him up on it. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm starting to learn about him. I had heard of him, but I didn't know that was him. And then I told my agent about it. My agent's like, that's serious. He takes people for rides in his limo because he does so much work that he literally has no time to park. So he has a limo driving around from studio to studio. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. Wow.
And that all changed when we got home studios, but still I was the only one. And he used to take people on ride-alongs because he'd get bored in the car and get a little lonely. voiceover can be a little lonely, you know.
Yeah. It's kind of cool that he took you into his inner circle, right?
Yeah, he right away, and he was really sweet, and so I just got to kind of hang out and just get to know him for an entire day. It was really amazing. He's such like his heart is so huge and so giving and so generous, and he's just beautiful.
Huh. Well, what was your first big break in that area? What did you do a movie for?
I auditioned for a trailer called Gone in 60 Seconds.
Time it took you to buy your ticket. 3.2 minutes. Time it took you to get your popcorn. 2.5 minutes. Time it took them.
Oh, let's go.
To steal your car.
It was so funny because I'm pretty sure I was the first female ever to walk into their studio for that audition.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and it was this very sexy, sultry thing, and I just decided, since I'm one of those actors who's like, let's just jump in to the tone of this thing, you know. And they showed me a clip, and I saw Angelina Jolie, and she's like really cool and really laid back. So I just did her, you know. I just did that, and I would ask the guys, "Do you want it like sexier? Do you want it this?" And they're like, "Yeah, okay." They just let me play and have fun, and then that thing went. That they picked me up. They used me for the trailer, but then, without me realizing it, I didn't know how trailers worked. They kept bringing me in to do more and more and more. And it was so similar. Like, I was changing a word here, changing this line, changing that. And I said to my agent, I don't understand. Like, why do they keep bringing me back? You know? And he's like, no, this is how trailers work. They make one for international. They make a radio. They make a TV. They make a...
Oh, interesting. Okay. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Online. Everyone's a little bit different. And the pay was really good. It was just amazing. And so then all these women who had found out about this, and they start coming up to me, and I start getting interviews with Hollywood Reporter and everything. And I was on the cover of
Were you? How cool is that?
It was amazing. Like, I started doing like tons and tons of trailers because they were like, this is the new thing. Let's get women in, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, every year there's a new thing. So it was really neat. I didn't know what a glass ceiling was for a really long time. I didn't understand that.
What period of time were we talking? When was this all going on? Early 2000s or early?
2000, yeah. I think it was around 2000, 2001, 2002, somewhere in there. I don't know. We'd have to look up that movie.
Even to this day, you're probably one of the more go-to female voices for a lot of things. And it's probably part of it because you're great at doing it. But the other part of it is because you have that trust factor going. People know that they can trust you to be there and to do a great job and be professional, probably.
Yeah.
There's another person I was kind of just browsing the internet for other voice talents. And there's another female that's fairly prominent. I just wondered if you knew her. Is it Randy Thomas?
Randy? Yeah, we're friends.
You're friends. Okay. Interesting. She's in LA as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
she does a ton of live announce, award shows, and all kinds of different things, promos. Yeah, she's great. I'll go teach at some of her events.
Oh, okay.
Teaching events and such, yeah.
So let's talk animation.
I looked up handsome in the phone book, and then I called him up and asked for your address.
Hayley Bailey! What do you think you're doing? I told you not to get dirty and to stay with Hermie.
But Mama...
This goes out to all you robots across the galaxy. It's time for you and me to rise up and strike back.
You've done some fun animation work, and that's got to be, a totally different path, because you're not only doing voice work, but you're doing a different voice with a different personality, and you kind of have to adopt all that, right?
To me, it's all the same. It's all acting. You just stay in the moment, just stay truthful to what you're doing. So whether I'm doing an award show and somebody comes out that I have to announce that I maybe personally am not a fan of or whatever, but in that moment, I am their biggest fan. And I love that. And so it's just like in doing animation, you find in doing character work, for me, I try to like get into the moment of where we are, the age I'm at, all that kind of stuff, and just stay in that moment, stay in that truth, and just live it and see it. Like when I teach, I tell my students, it's the playground of the mind. Like you just see as much as you possibly can and visualize it, and you'll be there so much quicker. Right.
So one of your biggest roles, kind of ongoing role, happened in the early 2000s as you were playing the role of Ginger in As Told by Ginger, which was a Nickelodeon series. Yeah. So tell us about that character, and who was that you became? For your role?
I think honestly, it was such a gift because I really got to play myself in junior high. Yeah.
In junior high, right? So she's a junior high school kid, right?
The character of Ginger, she's very insecure and young and naive to begin with, and queen of the nerds kind of thing. And yet she's got a mother who keeps her very grounded. And it was so beautifully written. And Emily Kepnick wrote it, and I think she was pretty young when she wrote it, and she submitted it for like a competition, and Klasky Chupo picked it up, and we did all our recording there. And then the funny thing is, when it comes to like character work, you do kind of sort of keep a little Rolodex of not so much characters, but sounds and all kinds of things. There was a girl down the street when I lived down at the beach in Santa Monica, and she had this super raspy voice, which seems to be my normal voice today. And it was this little tiny girl with this really raspy voice. And at the audition, I just decided Ginger could have just this rasp. She could just be like, I don't know, guys, it's really hard. Like it just kind of fit the character. And Emily said when she heard that audition, she was like, that's my Ginger.
Sasha, wait, listen. I think you got the wrong impression the other day. See, I'm not like Courtney Grippling. I mean, the way she talked to you, it was really rude.
That's her. And I don't think it was the rasp as much as it was that I just had that inner insecurity, that I just understood what it was like.
That was one of my big questions about a character voice, is because the people who created that character maybe have an idea in their mind about what they sound like.
Yeah.
But it really comes, when it gets down to it, it comes from the actress themselves, right? I mean, it becomes who you believe that character sounds like, because that's what happened in this case. Right?
Yeah, it is. And it's a nice little marriage of, you know, when it works, it's great. When kind of their idea matches what your idea might be, you know, and hopefully you can exceed their expectation for what they're looking for character wise.
Yeah.
So I have fun with it.
That series ran for 3 seasons or something like that. Was it a couple of 3 years?
It's back again.
It is. Okay.
Yeah, they're playing it. I don't know. Nick something is playing it. I just can't remember.
Are you getting royalties?
Something. I don't think for this latest round yet, but yes, for years I have.
Yeah.
And God bless royalties. God bless the union, because that's how the actors survive. You know.
Then there was a Christian video series that you were involved in.
Yeah.
Hermie and Friends.
Yeah.
And you worked with some heavyweights in that, casted in that series, right? It was Don Knotts and Tim Conway and Vicki Lawrence.
Yeah.
And you were Lucy. Tell me about that character.
I played Lucy the Ladybug, and then I played her 2 daughters, Hayley and Bailey.
Oh, you played all of those. Okay.
Yeah. And the elusive Lizzie, I think it was Lizzie Lizard. But when I did that character, she was just so like, sometimes I can like get a character just from a picture, and they showed me this picture of this lizard and the way she walks, and I was just like, she's really cool. She's kind of like a surfer girl from San Diego. Like, she's super cool, man. Like, that's how I kind of did that one. Somebody said that they thought she sounded kind of stonerish, so Lizzie didn't really come back. Are you hearing all these kids? There's a whole family of kids next door. If it's too loud, let me know. I'll go inside.
No, that's fine.
So good. Okay. It's really fun. And the Ladybug mom, Lucy, is just, I mean, what a precious, precious show that is. I love that show, and what they teach on it, you know, it's beautiful. It's just the caring mom, but she gets very stern when she needs to. The daughters who are always trying to rebel.
Yeah.
Fun and rebel, you know, typical.
And did that get played on broadcast somewhere, or was that just a video
series? As far as I know, I think it's on. I wouldn't be surprised if it's on other like Christian network stations sometimes. I feel like I can go on YouTube and watch it too. Like, it's out there.
Well, yeah, because I did find it on YouTube. I watched a portion of one episode, and that's where I found out, you know, I heard can you do Mom's voice, Lucy's voice?
Yeah, when I'm not sick. Oh, girls, just, you know, come over here. Stop fighting. I mean, it's the quintessential, you know, oh, girls.
kind of your sweet voice. It's kind of you being very momly. Yeah.
It's my momly voice. I like that.
Yeah.
The girls are very like, Mom, I gotta get that. You know, they're
whiny.
Terrible, whiny and nasal. I'm not prepared. My throat hurts. Excuses.
So then on top of all of that, there's just the amazing number of commercials, just commercials for commercial companies.
Yeah,
you've done Boeing, you've done Starbucks, you've done Google, Domino's, and McDonald's.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of McDonald's. You know, that's life as an actor. Like I just stay open to everything, and some people, I think they kind of like having a little niche. They like having that. And I like having variety. Like, I get bored fast. I'd rather just sort of be open to anything and play and have a good time, and whatever comes. I'm totally fine with that.
Thus videos came. Video games came. Yeah, sure. Yeah. That opened up a whole new
world.
Opportunity, right?
Yeah. And a whole new thing for me to turn down.
What do you mean by that? You don't like doing video games?
Not if I have to scream and yell.
It's,
as a singer, songwriter, as a person who's in this long term, I just don't like trashing my voice that way. And it's horrible. And so many of the games are really disgusting and bloody and ugh. And so there's been times where I've said, okay, I'll do this character, but I'm not going to do the screaming. And they're like, huh? And I go, yeah, get a screamer. And occasionally they will. And then there was a time when I was doing, I can't remember the name of the series, but it had the word blood in it. And I was like, ugh. And I'm playing a kind of a big character in it, but I'm like the assistant to the lead or something. And I said, I'm not going to do any of the cussing. I'll cuss in certain things, and I feel like it's necessary for that character to show what that person's going through. But for this, I was like, no, this is ridiculous. No. So I just said, yeah, I'm not going to do any of the cussing stuff. And they're like, huh? So I just didn't feel like it was necessary. And I was like, you know, you can get someone else. I don't really care. But they loved me enough as the character that they said, okay. So they took out all the cussing. And then this was really, really encouraging for me, because I went to like the second session, and there were these really long sessions where they do these weird things now where they put a camera on you, like right here, and you have a light like shining in your eyes, and the other camera is right here, like getting your facial expressions. This is really bizarre and very cool, but hard to act with all that junk on you.
Yeah.
And this engineer editor came up to me, and he's like, thank you so much. I love editing your work, because you're the only person in this whole cast who's not cussing at me the whole time. I was like, well, that says something.
Yeah, there you go.
That's awesome.
There you go. Which, our podcast, Amazing Greats, is all about people who are successful in what they've done in their career and in their life. But also, we're really like to dig deeper into their love of Jesus. And I know you have demonstrated that. In fact, I found you on an app that's called Abide.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot how you found. Okay.
Yeah, and it's a Christian app.
Did I put you to sleep?
What's that?
Did I put you to sleep?
I don't listen to the sleepy ones. I go
okay.
Yeah.
Just good meditation ones.
Yeah.
It's been so neat, like during the whole, when we started in the quarantine and the COVID era that we're in, and a lot of the jobs were going away. Like I started really getting into writing meditations because I would write them for my son to help him so he wouldn't have nightmares. And I told a friend, and then she had me do it for my mom's group. We were all on Zoom, and I was like, okay, I'm going to lead them in this meditation that I could do for my son. And by the end of it, everybody was on the floor. Like everybody was like passed out. It was so great.
Put him to sleep. Oh, great.
Yeah, and I was like just sitting there on Zoom like, should I go? Like, let him sleep. Anyway, we got up and talked, but it was really fun. And so one of my friends, there's a new one coming out called Amen. So it was on the ground floor. We got to help not develop it. We were just like, my husband and I started writing for them, and I was doing the voiceover, and that one's coming. And then another friend told me about Abide and said, I'm gonna give them your name. So they did. So I've been doing a lot of Abide work, and I didn't realize I'd be doing this much writing. It's very different, the writing stuff for me. My husband's the writer, but I feel like, gosh, I'm a writer now too. So yeah. I've always been a writer, but I didn't get paid for it.
See, there's news for me because I didn't realize the voice of those Abide actually wrote the meditation themselves.
Not everybody. I
think
if you want to try your hand at writing it, yeah. And I did, because I had been writing for this other company. So I was like, oh yeah, I can do this. I can write. So, and it's been really good for me spiritually and mentally, because as everybody was caught up in a lot of fear, I was like, take a deep breath. Let's relax. I was like doing research on how to get relaxed and how to help people with fear and how to help people feel more hope and all that kind of stuff. So,
oh wow, very cool. So that brings me to the question of, so you're a follower of Jesus and have been. Was there an aha moment for you that kind of turned the tide and brought you close to Jesus?
So many.
So many. Good.
Mm-hmm. I think there were a lot early on. In my 20s, some work started coming, and I'd moved to LA, and I was doing a lot of voiceover stuff and commercials and everything. But I always felt like there was something really wrong with me, and I went through this time. Okay, this is going to sound really freaky. Can I tell you something freaky?
I love to hear freaky.
You love freaky? Okay. Yeah. So, I don't know. But I woke up, and I had been dealing with a lot of shame. And I woke up with a demon in my face telling me that God didn't love me anymore, and I needed to kill myself. And God didn't want anything to do with me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was so real. You know those things that you're like, I don't think that was a dream. I think that was sort of in that waking up thing. And it was just so like, ugh. And it hit me so hard. And I believed the lie for a little while and just thought, that's it. God doesn't love me. God doesn't love me. And I'm very open about this because the subject of abortion, because I'd gone through an abortion when I was younger. And I'd gotten into counseling and stuff, but still there was something still eating at me, like the shame of it. There was just this like thing that I couldn't let go of. Like later I understood how God could forgive me, but I still for years felt like I couldn't forgive myself. And I didn't know that for a long time. I just carried it with me, you know? Mm-hmm. And I literally, that was the only time I contemplated suicide, and I had no idea how or what or anything. It was just the thought of it, right? And I know a lot of people have been through this this depression and everything is, it's everywhere and it's really awful. So anyway, sidetracked. I tried to call my mom. I tried to call my old therapist. I tried to call friends. Nobody would return my call. It was the weirdest time. I couldn't figure it out. And then my Jewish boyfriend at the time said something really interesting. He goes, I told him, I said, I feel like there's like this battle for my soul right now. And he goes, why do you Christians always think there's a battle for your soul? And I'm like, there is. I feel it. I actually felt like I was being pulled and that I could make a decision right then. Like, am I going to believe that God loves me or am I going to take my own life? It was really weird. And I never acted upon it or anything, but I reached out to God so hard in that moment. I had nowhere else to go. And I felt like, if I could put a visual, it felt like a hand came down, like a hand of light. And all I had to do was put my hand up and he just grabbed on and just pulled me out. Yeah, it just felt like he just pulled me. And it wasn't something that happened instantaneously. Like, as a songwriter, of course, I had to write a song about it because that's therapy. And it became, I have a song called Child of Mine, or it's also called The Drum Song. It's on my first album. I think it's on my first album called Sweet Faith. And it's literally me just pounding on a drum. It was like getting back to the basics and the heartbeat of God. And what is his heartbeat for us? That he loves us. He wants us. It doesn't matter what we've done. He is gonna always be there for us. Don't believe the lie. And it was so good. And it brought me back to like a place with him where I got to go deeper and I got to see his character more and understand myself more. So it's like my favorite song of everything I've written, and it's very powerful.
Really? Yeah. I'll have to go back. I saw some of the music stuff that you've done online as well. And I didn't have a chance to go through it all, but that album that you're talking about, that was put out in like mid 2006 or 7.
Yeah, that was a while back. And then I did another one, 2010-ish.
Also a Christian based album?
The second one isn't as much. The first one definitely is, the word God is in it a lot more. I have a song called Dancing with Jesus. And I saw that, yeah. My producer that helped me with that was this Jewish guy. And he just loved the Dancing with Jesus song. It was so cool. And then the second one really was like a compilation of love songs and a couple new things I had just put together. I ended up writing a song for my daughter that I named Sarah, and that's in heaven. And I wrote a song about her and my journey through that. And that's really amazing. That's gone out to a lot of people who have dealt with abortion and gone through the healing time period. And I would think you heal the rest of your life, but you know what I mean? Like if you go into like post-abortion recovery groups, that's something else that I did. Like about 15 years ago, I went and started becoming a counselor, basically, like a facilitator for those groups. So a lot of women go through it and come out the other side. I mean, it's the transformation, because it's something that just tears you down from the inside, and it shows on the outside, and people don't realize. If you've gone through that kind of experience and you've said yes to a death in your own body, and it's horrific what it does to your self-image, and people end up with eating disorders and drug and alcohol problems, and some women can't even go to like baby showers because they can't stand to hear a baby crying because it just triggers. And oh my gosh, there's so much.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's really a powerful story. You have a son now?
Mm-hmm. A son and a daughter.
And a daughter, okay. How old are they?
He's 9 and she's 3.
9 and 3. So you're a super mom right now.
Yes. Right now I'm on a day off where I'm working, but I'm not. My husband has the kids, and I'm helping my mom, pack up to move. I'm helping my parents, taking a break with Rick.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that, for sure. So you've shared with a couple of my questions always is your biggest faith challenge. And I think you've shared that with us. And
that was one of them. That's been a lot.
But you've been very authentic and vulnerable. And I appreciate that a lot in talking to you. And I've really come to in this short time that we've been together, really love you and admire you. So thank you.
I get to interview you next.
Okay. Like we were talking earlier before we went on digital that we like talking about ourselves best, right? Because we know ourselves best. So.
It's so easy. It's so ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
I keep watching the hummingbird up here. It's so pretty.
Well, the cool part about the audio for this interview is that
so many
birds chirping like crazy.
I should just show you guys these trees. I'm just watching the birds just go nuts. It's so pretty.
Look at that barn.
Yeah, isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
So I'm going through tumultuous time right now that I didn't expect it to be this tumultuous, and my parents have to sell the family home, and I'm like, I've just been dealing with so much sadness, just sad, I don't want them to sell it. I want to keep it.
Yeah.
Hold on to those things that have meaning and stuff. Yesterday I felt like I was losing foundation almost, you know. So it's going to be another one of those times in life where I'm going to be like, okay, I know. Like, you know that God is your foundation and people, and it's not where you are, but who you are and who you're with. And it's just still so hard on our stupid flesh.
Yeah. So tell me, how can our audience support you in any way? What things you got going on that we could be sharing in your successes?
Oh, you're so sweet.
New musical things on the horizon with you, or? I
want there to be. I think, when you have little ones, you don't get enough time to yourself to do that. Or maybe I just don't make the time. I don't know. I'd rather be like running around and playing Anna and Elsa with her. I want, I guess, just prayer for just, going through loss. Like, I'm in another place of like having to lose something right now, and all of us go through loss. So I would just say prayer for that. And then praising God for all the little things that he keeps taking care of us in, even through the whole COVID time when I've lost a lot of work. Other work has come that has sustained us, and it's been really, really good. And it's learning how to trust. It just takes a lot of prayer.
A lot of prayer, yeah.
Yeah.
This has been, I don't want to keep you too long, and we try to keep our podcast right around 30 or 40 minutes so that people can use us to commute by or to walk by or jog by.
Yes,
but you have been a joy to get to know just a little bit. And
thank you.
Thank you so much. And maybe somewhere along the line we can reconnect if you got another project coming up or something that we can chat about down the line as we're continuing on with our podcast.Maybe we'll reconnect and
okay. So. Sounds good. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe I'll write it.
Maybe you'll write it.
I don't know. There's lots of things that when I think my little one's in school, I'll have all this time to do it. And I was like, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, the cool part is I'll be able to hear you because he'll be on Abide's meditations. So I'll be hearing you from time to time along the way there.
Yeah. And Sirius XM, I do some stations on there.
I didn't know that.
Channel 33. It's my favorite. It's indie 80s.
Channel 33.
Channel 33, yeah.
33, okay.
Yeah.
Indie 80s, all right. Yeah, that would be...
First wave. It's first wave.
Something you record at home and...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They let me just be my nerdy self, and I love the 80s, so it's like first wave, right on, man. Yeah. Just can do whatever I want. I love them.
So there's something our listeners can listen for is Channel 33. They can get the Abide app and hear you there.
Yeah. You can also, if you're interested in learning how to do voiceover, you can go to my website too. There's a ton of classes on there. Just go to melissadisney.com. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of videos, and then people can study with me privately if they want to. And yeah, that's been really fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, God bless you. Thank you so much
Rick.
for taking the time.
You're welcome. Thank you.